When we think about police officers, we imagine them as the protectors of our communities, the people we turn to when danger lurks. But what happens when the line between protector and predator blurs? What if the very person sworn to serve and protect is the one committing the crime? This chilling scenario unfolds in some real-life cases, demonstrating how even the most trusted individuals can harbor dark secrets. In this story, we explore a shocking case where a detective unravels the truth that a fellow cop is actually the murderer. Detective Sarah Thompson had seen her fair share of crimes during her 20-year career, but nothing could prepare her for the shocking discovery she was about to make. It all began with the seemingly straightforward murder investigation of a young woman named Emily Parker. Emily was a bright, cheerful college student with a promising future. One fateful night, she was found dead in her apartment, the victim of a brutal stabbing. The police were quick to arrive at the scene, and among them was Officer John Davis, a well-respected member of the force. As the investigation kicked off, there seemed to be no immediate suspects. The community was in shock. How could something so terrible happen to someone so full of life? Emily's friends and family were devastated. They described her as a kind, generous person who always had a smile on her face. The pressure was on the police department to find the killer and bring justice to Emily's grieving loved ones. But as the days turned into weeks, the case seemed to be going nowhere. Despite the best efforts of the police, no significant leads emerged. Frustration began to set in among the investigators. They were determined to find the truth, but the clues were few and far between. Detective Thompson led the investigation, carefully piecing together the events leading up to Emily's murder. The crime scene was meticulously examined, but little evidence was found. No signs of forced entry suggested that Emily might have known her attacker. Friends and family were questioned, but no one seemed to have any motive to harm Emily. Detective Thompson worked tirelessly, reviewing the evidence repeatedly. She spent countless hours interviewing witnesses and following up on tips. Despite her efforts, the case remained a mystery. The lack of evidence was frustrating, but she refused to give up. She knew that the key to solving the case was out there somewhere. During this time, Officer Davis was a constant presence. He was always eager to help, often going above and beyond his duties. At first, Detective Thompson appreciated his dedication, but over time, she began to notice something strange. Davis seemed overly eager to close the case, often suggesting leads that went nowhere and pushing theories that seemed baseless. As the investigation dragged on, Detective Thompson's suspicions grew. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She decided to take a closer look at Davis's involvement in the case. Armed with this new evidence, Detective Thompson approached her superior, Captain Rogers, with her suspicions. Captain Rogers was initially doubtful. Officer Davis had an impeccable record and was a highly regarded member of the force. However, the DNA evidence couldn't be ignored. They decided to bring Davis in for questioning, but they knew they had to be careful. If he was the killer, he would be cunning and dangerous. During the interrogation, Davis remained calm and collected, denying any involvement with Emily's murder. "John," Detective Thompson began, "we found your blood at the scene. How do you explain that?" Davis leaned back in his chair, his face an unreadable mask. "I must have cut myself while securing the crime scene. You know how chaotic it can get." It was a plausible explanation, but Detective Thompson wasn't convinced. She pressed on. "Your eagerness to close the case, the way you directed the investigation, it's all very suspicious." Davis's eyes narrowed. "Are you accusing me, Sarah? Do you have any real evidence, or is this just a wild hunch?" Thompson knew she had to proceed carefully. She didn't want to tip Davis off and give him the chance to cover his tracks. She decided to keep him under close surveillance while she continued to gather more evidence. Determined to find more concrete evidence, Detective Thompson and her team started to dig into Davis's past. They discovered that Emily had filed a police report against an unknown stalker just a few months before her death. The stalker's description matched Davis's profile. Furthermore, they found out that Davis had been involved in a previous domestic violence case, but the charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit together. The more they uncovered, the more it became clear that Davis was hiding something. They found witnesses who remembered seeing Davis near Emily's apartment on the night of the murder. They also discovered that Davis had a history of obsessive behavior, particularly towards women who rejected him. Thompson's team worked, piecing together the evidence. They interviewed more witnesses, reviewed surveillance footage, and analyzed phone records. Every new piece of information confirmed their suspicions. The breakthrough came when they re-examined Emily's phone records. They found several calls made to a disposable phone, which they traced back to Davis. This phone was used to send threatening messages to Emily, messages that mirrored the language used in the stalking report. With this damning evidence, Detective Thompson confronted Davis again. This time, the atmosphere was tense. Davis could no longer maintain his composure. "John, we have your DNA at the scene, phone records linking you to threatening messages, and a history of violence." "It's over," Thompson stated firmly. Davis's facade crumbled. He lashed out, trying to deny the allegations, but the evidence was overwhelming. He was arrested and charged with Emily's murder. The arrest of Officer Davis sent shockwaves through the community. People couldn't believe that a trusted police officer was capable of such a heinous crime. The media coverage was intense, and the public demanded answers. The trial was a media sensation. The public was shocked that a trusted police officer could commit such a heinous crime. Davis was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. The case left a scar on the community and the police force, shaking the trust in those meant to protect them. During the trial, more details about Davis's actions came to light. Witnesses testified about his obsessive behavior, and experts explained how he manipulated the investigation to cover his tracks. The jury had no doubt about his guilt, and the verdict was not disputed. Emily's family finally received the justice they deserved. They were grateful for Detective Thompson's relentless pursuit of the truth. The case also prompted a thorough review of the police department's procedures and led to significant reforms to prevent such a betrayal from happening again. The community slowly began to heal, but the memory of the case lingered. It served as a reminder that evil can hide in plain sight and that vigilance and integrity are crucial in law enforcement. Detective Thompson's constant search of the truth, despite the challenges and risks, serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of integrity and perseverance in law enforcement. Her story highlights several key lessons. Trust, but verify. Even trusted individuals can have dark secrets. It's crucial to remain objective and follow the evidence no matter where it leads. Attention to detail. Minor details like the blood speck on the windowsill can be critical in solving a case. Thorough investigation is essential. This case underscores the need for accountability and transparency within the police force. Officers must be held to the highest standards of conduct. These lessons are essential for all law enforcement officers. They serve as a reminder that the search of justice requires dedication, attention to detail, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Detective Thompson's story is a testament to the importance of these values in maintaining the integrity of the justice system. It's a chilling reminder of the complexity and unpredictability of crime investigations. It shows how even those we trust the most can betray us, and it emphasizes the importance of vigilance, integrity, and perseverance in seeking justice. If you find these stories compelling and want to learn more about the inner workings of crime investigations, subscribe to our channel for more real-life cases and insights into the world of law enforcement. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember that justice often requires looking beyond the obvious. To gain a deeper insight into fascinating crime stories and understand the complexities of criminal investigations, subscribe to our channel. Get access to exclusive content, real-life case studies, and expert analysis that will keep you informed and engaged.